Graham, good to see you again. I'll start with last night. Primarily, bodies-wise, how did you come through?
Physically, everyone okay apart from Verdane. Checked him out. Obviously, I didn't see the actual incident. I sort of followed the ball, but I thought it was a clash of heads or something. But I've seen it. He took a really bad fall over the opponents, and landed in a really difficult position. So, he's gone through the protocols of concussion. He feels okay in himself, just a little bit groggy, but I think the minimum is 7 days. Apart from that, everyone else is fine.
Just in terms of workload and the numbers that come back on players and how they've gone through these first two games, and obviously, we've spoken a lot about the physical output that they've put in through pre-season. Are you pleased with the numbers that are coming back and how they're committing to what you're asking of them physically?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we know what we sort of have to do energy-wise to win a game of football, and I know the players are capable of reaching those levels because they did it last season. It's how often can you reach those levels, and can you stay fit, from game to game. So it's the resilience and the robustness to sort of reach those levels game in, game out that we're looking for. So we won't have that sort of information till we get 10, 12 games into the season, but certainly the physical output from the players has been excellent in those two games. The technical stuff last night and tactical was really good as well. So the players are in a good shape physically. I think we started 15 outfield players in the two games, so lots of minutes for the players. And the players who didn't play last night have had a really good session today as well. So they're buying into it, or they've bought into it already. And long may that continue, because we want them all available and fit to win.
What do you take away from the performance in both those games? Responding to different game situations, defending a lead for a long period of time, looking to get back into a game and finding an equaliser.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about it after the MK game on Monday. That I actually, the game changed for us how we played on Saturday, not because of the opponent, but because of the scoreline. Yeah. So it was that early in the game that we started doing things just a little bit differently, but it was nothing to do. They were still doing the same thing. It was us that had changed. So we spoke about the need to stay consistent with our game plan, how we want to play. Whether we score 2 goals, whether we concede a goal. We have to keep doing those things, and I felt we showed that last night, which is really good to see, because we almost went from in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, a 3-goal swing. We had a goal disallowed, we missed a penalty, and then we were a goal down. So from being potentially 2-0 up, we 1 goal down in a short period, and that can sort of knock you off balance a little bit. But I thought the players kept their composure, kept the ideas of how we wanted to play, and ultimately we got the goal, and still more than enough chances to go and win the game. And like I said last week, you can't guarantee wins, but we have to have some semblance of, we have an idea of how we play and how we win games and stuff like that. And I saw a lot of that last night. So the technical data as well is really good from our pressures, our regains, and ultimately the amount of chances we had and actual opportunities from good positions, in the box. And so we just have to keep building on that.
Yeah, the headline will be, sadly, that you're out of the cup, and that'll be the frustration, the overriding feeling. But in the aftermath of that, are you able as a group, as a manager, to focus on actually what you did so well last night and take that moving forward?
Yeah, because I think I spoke about having balance after the game on Saturday. We didn't review the result. We reviewed things in the performance that we did really well and things we can do better. So it's the same today. I can't then just go on about losing the penalty shootout. So, but look, I want the players to hurt if we get beat, or however, if we don't win a game, we have to feel that. I'm not going to just brush it under the carpet and just talk about positives. I want us to have an emotional reaction to not winning a game of football. But listen, the players are balanced. I think they've learned about how we try to manage between games, and it's generally 99% looking at the next one. And like I said last night after the game, we will take what we can from last night that we feel we need on Saturday to try and win that. That's our only focus now. But yeah, it was disappointment to lose, but after playing in a good fashion as well. But that's how professional football is. More
generally, and I know you were asked about Alex Gilliead last night. I know that he was missing from the squad. I think I'm right in saying that. Yeah. There's been a bit of focus about where his future lies and whether or not that's here at Bradford City, whether that's elsewhere. And I know that you've said that you've had conversations with him. Just for absolute clarity, what is your viewpoint on Alex Gilliead? You want him to be a part of this Bradford City squad moving forward?
I want Gilly to make the decision that he sees best for his career. I've had another conversation this morning that I think when players are at a certain age, at a young age, 20, 21, I think we have to almost direct them, with the value of our experience and knowing what the future could potentially look like, either here or somewhere else. I think when players get to a certain age, like Gilly is at 27, 28, I think you have to have a good conversation with that guy, sort of painting a picture, but then the decision has to come from him. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. I think that's how I wanted to be treated at that age. That it was my career, and it's listen, you've got a contract to protect you. So his decision, if he wants to stay, he can stay. But also it's a contract that you have to respect. It's from the club as well. But I think I'm not going to keep anyone here as a prisoner who doesn't want to be here. I do want people or players, to look 6 months down the line, then look back and go, well, was he honest with me? And did I know the picture? And did I then make the decision that he had to be a part of? And that's all players at that age. So I've had that conversation many times over the last 5-6 years as a manager. Probably not so much at the start of my career, because I was unaware of those conversations, actually how important those conversations are. But certainly as I've become more experienced, I've tried to be as honest as I can with players, and then it's their decision. Look, if I feel that strongly about something, then I will sit down and say this is it, sort of thing. But I haven't had those conversations with players who've been in the matchday squad. So Gilly's aware of the situation. He has had interest from other clubs because he is a good player and he is a good character. But we've got really, really strong competition that was already here. Strong competition that's come into the club. And players of Gilly's age, I believe, want to play week in, week out, and feel that they have a really good opportunity to do that. So, the decision will be down to Gilly.
I don't want to break any confidences then with this next question, so don't answer it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But have you got a sense of what he wants to do?
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, because we just had a conversation. I'm talking 2.5 hours ago at the end of training, and it was out on the training pitch, and he just asked me a couple of questions. So I gave him honest answers, and then it's down to him to think about his future. That's I believe that's how a relationship should work. I don't want to give people false hope just on the selfish part of me of keeping a player just in case. I wouldn't be able to look at him in the eye in 6 months' time if that was the case. So, it will be down to Alex Gilliead.
Similar question to some extent in regards to Kevin McDonald as well. What is the latest on his situation in regards to, obviously he's under contract at the football club, so that's quite a simple answer to it, but what place does he hold within this squad moving forward?
Well, I had an honest conversation with Kevin at the end of last season, because I knew we would be recruiting, I knew we would be bringing in players. I felt the same there, that he would have very limited game time. Listen, no one has to sit in front of me and tell me what a good player Kevin McDonald is. Technically and all those sort of things. But I have to make decisions which I feel that benefit the future of Bradford City. That's how it is. And the numbers we have here, I knew what we were going to be recruiting in summer, as in not the specific names, but numbers and positions and everything. And I thought it would be very difficult for Kev to break back into the team. That was it. So he's considering his options. He still trains with us every day, and then we just see how that progresses.
I know last season there was a situation in regards to Matt Derbyshire where he kind of migrated into a coaching role. I mean, if there isn't a suitor or a different direction for Kev away from this club, is that an option on the table? Could you see him moving into the coaching role, a position that he held in some degree last season?
No, not here. No. I made a decision with Darbs at the end of last season. I didn't feel we needed extra coaches. I'm very much an essential person. What is needed. I don't like lots and lots of stuff that's not needed and it muddies the waters. That's like I say with the players, the playing squad. You know what I mean? the playing squad. I don't want excessive numbers, and it's the same with the coaching staff or any staff. I think at this level in particular, I see it at other clubs, big clubs that have got more staff than players. How can they justify what they're doing? I like people to have real responsibility, and so we don't need any extra coach staff. And to be fair to Kev, he's completed all the pre-season. You don't do that if you haven't got ambitions to keep playing. And I've spoke to Kev. He will go into that side in the future, but he's certainly fit enough to keep playing. Or he wouldn't have put the work in that he has. So he's trained every session, every day. So he's fit to play. So and I know he's strong-minded to go. No, I want to fulfil the end of my playing career with playing time and enjoying my football. I don't think he's ready to pass that baton on just yet, and I understand that because I was in the exact same situation at a similar stage.
In terms of trading more generally and moving players on, moving players in, I know when we spoke ahead of MK, I think I asked about FFP or SCMP or whatever the abbreviation is, and where you were, and I think you said at the time that you were on that limit, and then I think when we spoke about Sanderson coming in, and I think you'd said actually we're actually in a position now where we don't need to trade. Has there been a change at all in that regard?
From my understanding, there has, because so, like I said, this is why I wanted to avoid those questions of all that and VAT and all that sort of stuff, because I don't. People can say it's that and injuries. When the medical team start getting into the details of injuries, my mind goes blank, and I just go, when's he coming back? And it's the same with the financial stuff. And Ryan and Stefan and David have got together and they've released more funds that enable us to, do the business that we need to do. And that's brilliant for us because it's essential for us. And we felt there was a period of time that there was things that we wanted to do and could potentially do, but we were waiting for other things to happen, and it was a little bit frustrating, and I think it was holding us back. So, that's where we are. So that's why we could bring Ollie in, because we didn't have to wait for anything else to happen. We've got what we need to bring him in.
I don't want to dwell on that topic too much, but just in terms of then flexibility that you maybe now have at your disposal for the rest of the window. I mean, how much freedom do you have in terms of bringing players in and not having to worry so much about players moving on?
Not that much, because we don't need to do that much. That's the thing. So it's like, if I had the opportunity or the freedom to sign 10 players, I'd say, well, I don't need 10 players. That's it. So we potentially need 1/2 players, I feel, to make sure that this, when I look in the future in my head about the squad we have here, the players that are there that might potentially move on or not play, what do we need to make sure that that's a really strong squad? I think it's 1/2 players, depending on that one player, because we obviously want players who can play in multiple positions. So we've got enough to do that bit of business which we need to do, or I feel we need to do, and anything after that we don't really need. So there's no point.
Just on that point, actually, of players playing in multiple positions, and it was a question I wanted to ask you in regards to Clark Adwar. We've obviously spoken to Clark today, and I just wanted to get your opinion really on where you see Clark best used in the team?
What did he say?
After asking him, his preference was down the middle in the 10. He's obviously played as a wide player.
Yep.
I know he played in the 8,
Yep.
but we've seen him in his career in years gone by play in a wide position on the left, playing on the right.
Yeah.
What would be your answer on that?
I think I had a similar conversation with Clark last week. We had a good chat in the office about his progression, what I feel he needs to do to really fulfil what he has, because I don't think he has. I think he scratched the surface, to be honest. So it's my job to try and help him to fill in the gaps, to find a way of being more consistent with his performances, because we know what his top line is. It's really high. I believe I think he's intelligent. He's technically he's one of the best we have in this division, I think, and certainly in our squad. But there's a consistency issue I believe in Clark, in his training, and I think it goes into his his game time. So, but he took on board. I asked him just a couple of little things that stayed between me and him, and he's took it on board and he's tried it. And I think he wants to be a good player. I think he wants to show that he's a good player. So it's up to me and him to work together to get the best out of him. And I think I couldn't tell you his best position because he hadn't played regularly enough to do that. I did ask him. He said something similar. I said, but you, when you came here, what was said to you? And he said, wide right. I said, where did you play for Barnsley? He said, left wing back. So that's the problem. And I think if he becomes more consistent with his training, his daily habits, all that in his motivation, then he'll be able to nail down a specific position and go, that's me. You know what I mean? I think he hasn't been consistent enough to be able to go, no, that's definitely me. But there is a element from me to go, he's too good a player to not have him involved somewhere else. But I think there's other players that have nailed down positions and gone, no, this is mine. You know what I mean? Sort of thing, well, this is my position. And I think at the minute he goes, he does a good job there, he does a good job there, he does a good job there. And I think he has the attributes to play all over those places, all over those positions. So I think he's got to keep his mind open to go, well, we're never going to play him in a position that doesn't highlight his abilities. Rest assured, I'm never going to play him centre half. You know what I mean? So he needs to understand that. But I'm always going to play him in a position where he can get on the ball and he can be creative for us, because I think that's what he's strong at. So wherever he plays, he's always going to be in that sort of role. But I saw, we played him in a bounce game in training as a 6 in the same position as Richie, and he was running all over the place, bossing it and all this, and go, I like that position. I'm like, make your mind up, Clark. You know what I mean? So he's a good player, and but I think there's more to come from 100%.
You part answered 2 of the questions that I had on the horizon for you. Right. I'll go with the first one. Could you envisage then seeing him challenge for that left wing back role?
Yeah, well, I think that's why when we made the change last night. I knew what he'd give us in that position because he did it in Austria in the game there when we changed, and he went to wing back there. And I know what the attributes we need, and do you know what? I think the 8 positions, the wing back positions, I think they're quite similar. Aspects what we need from those players. I consider those wing backs to be midfield positions. I'll speak to the players about that. So they have all those 4 positions have a defensive responsibility, but a creative output. So I think there's and to be honest, if Richie is really I would say unique in that position, but he's got such a skill set that it's hard to find somebody like him. You know what I mean? So I think if ever Richie wasn't playing there, I think whoever played there would have to play in a completely different way, because I don't think we'll find a better Richie Smallwood, to be honest.
Well, that was my second question.
Okay. I'm ahead of you then, aren't I, on all the questions?
Yeah. But in the sense where either Richie picks up an injury or there's needing cover, my question was going to be, is there someone in your mind that can cover that in the squad, or do you need to recruit?
No, I don't think we need to recruit. I think I played Alex Patterson there in pre-season. little twofold to sort of protect him from the really high outputs that the eights do when he was coming back into pre-season after missing, but also me sort of having a mess about to go, well, who could potentially play that? And that's why I looked at Clark there, I've looked at Pato there, but they would both bring their unique sort of skill set to that position. Like I say, I don't think either of them would play like Richie. Do you know what I mean? It'd be a different sort of output. So, but they've both got the attributes to play in a midfield position and handle the ball. So, I wouldn't limit players down to what numbers on their back or what they've done 3 years ago. Or, you know what I mean? I just want them to keep their mind open and think if I'm on that pitch in the starting team, then I'm in a good position.
Final one from me, just on the fact that you're back at home.
Yeah.
In front of what we expect to be a big crowd, and I guess showing that home support, all the work that you've done in the pre-season and the work that you've already concluded in the first two games.
Yeah, I think the world is that connected now that you could play on the other side of the world and everyone will know about it anyway. So that's the thing. We had 200 odd followers to Austria, and I'm sure they would have passed the messages back to the fan base, and then the Sunderland game, obviously the MK game, there was near 2,000 there as well. So I think the supporters know what we're trying to do, and obviously they were there at the end of last season when we were winning consistently. So but it's I think it was an introduction to Valley Parade for a few new players against Sunderland, but it was 3,000 or something, 3,500. I think I'm going to see a different Valley Parade on Saturday. But I think they come here looking forward to that sort of occasion and that sort of environment to play in every second week. I think that's a big pull for us when we speak to players. We use it as a carrot. You know what I mean? But then you the age-old thing. Then you've got to still see it as a carrot and a positive when you're playing in front of it, and when they're demanding that you do this, that, and the other. And you win. That's it. But the demand is from me and my staff to win, from the owners, from the players themselves. We all put these demands on ourselves to win, so we're no different from the supporters. But I think we want to start off in good fashion, but the thing we have to understand is we have to play with a composure that we don't have to win the game in the first 10 minutes to keep the crowd on side, what everyone talks about. We have to have a professional focus on making sure that we're successful over 95 minutes, over 23 games, over 10 months. That's where the crowd will really get their pleasure from when we finish where we finish.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, mate.
When you say that, obviously the crowd sometimes want to push players, you hear attack and stuff. Is that something you're looking for in players, that they have the mental strength to stick to the game plan, as you said, and know that what they're doing is right and not get caught up in what the crowd want? Yeah,
but look, I don't think they're any different from other supporters. There's an awful lot of them. You know what I mean? So they're louder than maybe 2,000 fans or something like that. So I've played in front of demanding crowds and everything like that, and home clubs, clubs at home, sorry, they want to see their team win. So they're no different on that aspect of it. I think it's unique for this division, I would say, but not in the whole of England or the EFL. So, but that's, we talked about it at MK, after MK, where we scored 2 goals in the first 5 minutes and started to do things differently. So we tried to correct that, and I thought we showed that composure last night. And it would be the same on Saturday. We could score after 5 minutes, we could concede after 5 minutes. We have to keep our focus at all times, and it's. I think that's what separates the professionals from the others. I really do, and then the levels of professional football, the ones that can take their training into high pressure situations and then still do the same things. Because all professional footballers are good footballers. They wouldn't be professional in the first place. But then it's when you put in that pressure cooker, can you keep producing the same things, make the right decisions, and stick to what we are doing as a team, and not go off script and think this is what I want to do or this is what the fans want me to do. We have to go, what does the team need from me? That's how we have to go into those games. And the supporters, and we want to produce a game that gets the supporters excited. I think we are trying to do that. I think they've seen that at the end of last season. I think we certainly showed that last night with the amount of opportunities we've created and chances and the domination of the game in general. But not every game's going to be like that. But we are going to try to win every single game of football we play, and we are going to try and score goals. I think you can see that from the personnel that we have in the team. So we are trying to give them what they want, but we have to decide how we do that.
I suppose the opponents on Saturday in Salford, along with Bradford, going to be one of the favourites again for promotion, but it's putting that out of your mind and it's just playing that game.
Yeah, like, I think I said the other day, we can't change our motivation from game to game thinking, oh, these are this, these are that, blah, blah, blah. We have to know what we're about. You know what I mean? I think we have to take confidence and strength and pride in what we can produce as a football team. And I think the players buy into that. I think they want to feel good about themselves. They want to feel good about the players that are around them. And I think that's the best way of being consistent in what you produce. So we're going to come up against difficult tests all season long, every single game. I can't stress that enough to everybody. So you guys are going to go from opponent to opponent and to venue and stage of the season, this, that, the other. We will keep talking about how we want to play to be effective to win. And my message to the players will stay consistent with that.
Cheers.
Okay, mate.
I think we sort of talked about home form to you blue in the face last.
Yep.
Not just yourself, but previous managers.
Yep.
I think once in the last 5 years, this team have won double figures home games. You know?
Yes.
I think it was 9 last year.
Yeah.
It's getting over that barrier, isn't it? Because that is such a huge potential weapon for the club this season, isn't it?
It is, but I think I said it a couple of weeks ago. I think it's what's happened in the last 5-6 years is not the burden for this group of players to carry. They weren't here. The majority of them weren't here. Certainly none of them were here for the whole period. So it's not our responsibility to fix the past. Our responsibility is right here, right in front of us, and it's up to us what we do. But I think our understanding of what that challenge is, we do have to take the environment into it. We do have to take how the opposition see Valley Parade and the support and the stadium and the environment, and bring that into our thinking. So there's a 10% part, or maybe 5% part, where we have to think about that, talk about it, but then still do the things that we need to do to win a game of football. I don't think that things change actually on the pitch, but they might change in our mind. So we have to keep the mind right.
The other thing is, of course, you've got fans who had a season ticket for maybe 15 years, 20 years, and they've been through those seasons where the team hasn't won enough at home. And so,
I get that.
Of course, their natural frustration bubbles.
Carried out on a bag on the shoulder.
They want to get rid of that as well, don't they? So it's just sort of lifting that weight universally, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, I get that, and I think, look, it'd help us a lot. I think if fans could put that bag down. You know what I mean? No, listen, because I think I've spoke about it in my own career. Look, I've left jobs, and you either walk around with a bag full of bitterness on your shoulder, and this happened to me, I'm the victim, and all this sort. You just go into the next, put it down, go into the next job, and just go and express yourself and enjoy your job. That's how I try to see my life, because bad things happen to everybody. They do. They happen to everybody. So you can't carry it around, or it'll just weigh you down. So for me, if the supporters could put that down for a little bit, give us a chance to breathe, which I think they are. I think they are doing that. I think they did that at the end of last season. They saw a team that was not just winning, but committed to playing a way that they would like to see. But our responsibility is to give them something new to see as well. You know what I mean? So that's our burden to bear, or our responsibility. And I think we've got strong enough characters and people and players to carry that. And say, no, this is a fresh start for everybody. We're going to give you something that you want to see. We're going to try our hardest to make you go home with a smile on your face. I think that's the most we can do. Everything else after that, we can't carry history around with us. It's not ours to carry.
As you say, you got sort of a taste of that winning the last 3 home games last season, which I think actually gave, after an up and down season, gave everyone a bit of a boost, didn't they? Even if ultimately you did finish a point off what you wanted to be.
But it did. You're right. It gave everyone hope and ambition and excitement going into the summer. That there was some seeds there of a good team, of a good way of playing, and a team that could be successful. And they've shown us that support in the season tickets sales. Nearly 14,000, which is amazing. That's something to be proud of as Bradford manager, Bradford player, Bradford supporter. That sort of support is phenomenal at this level. So for me, I think we've given them that little bit. They've given us their support, and it's just that's how we have to work together if we can. And like I said last week after MK, sometimes we're going to disappoint them a little bit, I'm sure. But it can't be through the lack of effort or will. You know what I mean? I think most Bradford fans will forgive that in the long run, as long as they see people trying. But I think we're better than just trying. I think we can show good quality to win.